When I saw the write-up, I think it was in the bulletin or it was up on the screen, I don't remember, I saw both. Mm-hmm. I thought, this is a great idea.
I love how in the Bible, God gives us permission to be creative outside of what we can see in nature and what He created. So when I heard that we were going to do an art exhibit or experience, I thought that that was something that was very neat and something I wanted to be a part of.
I naturally think about art in almost every area of my life. And when I saw the opportunity in the bulletin and then talked with Pastor Justin about it, it was just something that's right up my alley.
On the sign-up sheet, it asked what medium I thought I would be using. And at that point, I had no idea, so I just put, we'll see, because I didn't know.
Anytime projects like this come up, I like to experience it with my photography. And that was difficult because once I agreed, I couldn't imagine what I was going to do. So a lot of praying went into it, and little by little, images started popping in my head.
Letterpress is something I got into because it is a complete calling for me. Something I would have never expected to be using these huge 1,100-pound machines. And God was literally yelling in my ear, there are things for you to say.
I think this is what this whole project is kind of introduced to, that there's ways to tell the story, and not just words and music. Can you tell the story? Can you use what you have or what you can do, the skills or the gifts or the abilities that you've been given to help tell the story?
I have been around the world of art to a degree. Actually, I would categorize myself more as a craftsman, but it is creativity that, is a rewarding experience if you are a maker of things.
And then at that first meeting, the creative juices started flowing as I listened to other people talk about what they might do, and just getting the idea of what this was, this whole process and celebration, as it may be, what it was going to be about, what it was going to be like. I think within that first day, I was driving in the car and the Lord started giving me some words, just an idea. And I went home, I knew that immediately I needed to get out the pen and the paper.
For this particular piece, I've chosen to use color as one of the key themes. So for example, my work this particular project has a lot of different colors in it, but I might take the color red and highlight, how is red seen in the story of creation? How can we see red in, the story of Cain and Abel? How can we see red through Easter and through the crucifixion of Christ? I'm hoping that it helps kind of highlight the consistency of some of themes from the beginning to the beginning of forever.
So my thought and my feeling is here that what I want to express is that every day God shows us something new. Every day it's a different sunrise. Every day it's a different sunset. Every day it's a different song, a different animal, a different bird. That's what I want to, bring to my display, is that if we're paying attention and we're listening and we've got our eyes open and our heart open, the world is just amazing, an amazing place. It's amazing that flowers bloom inside pots in our house. It's amazing that birds are singing right outside our door. That grass is growing, that the creeks are melting, that the ice is going away. And to me, that just all is leading to the day Christ rose from the dead.
So, my piece is in two parts. The first part is a cross with a form representing the form of Jesus on the cross, but made of pieces of broken crystal. And the broken crystal also sits on the side in a pile. And I'm going to invite people. I want people to pick up a piece of broken crystal in their hands to represent their own brokenness, and to physically put it on the cross.
This poem is written from the perspective of one of the female followers of Jesus, one of his close followers. I haven't yet determined which woman in particular, if she even has a name. The fact that she considered him a friend. And so the final phrase in the first paragraph is, "He was my friend, and this is the end."
Just the images of God's hands at first. I had so many ideas, but those images kept coming into my head. And last week on the way to church, and a song came on, and it was exactly the words that I needed to use. So I put one of the verses on the picture, explaining how God has held us in his hands from the time you're born till the time you go back home with him.
As a aspiring furniture maker, this is a exercise in lathe turning. So it literally is round, and it's a unique tool to work with. It has a glass bezel on it, and it has a 24-hour movement. And I also have another clock that I'm very fond of. That's just something to relate to, that was done in the 1800s.
So originally I was going to letterpress the words, "He is risen." It's your kind of standard words that you think of for Easter. And the more I thought about it, I changed it a little bit and I wrote, "Is he risen?" Because that morning of Easter, when it's so chaotic and there's so much confusion about what's happening, and whether you witnessed it or saw it or felt it, you don't really know what's going on. That morning, I thought, it's not just this is what happened, but what are all the emotions and the feelings that I would have felt that day? How would I have questioned things?
It's when we first come up with this art exhibition, it's kind of like, well, what can you do, and what, with your art that you work with, and that, there's 1,000 ideas that happen with that. But the reality is, every day I think of what the resurrection of Jesus Christ meant for us as Christians.
God is in all the little details. And he was that way in the Easter story and in my life. However messy or unprepared I might be, that he is working all those things out, and they're all weaving this beautiful tapestry of life.
Was it obviously an incredible series of events for the disciples. It's my prayer that people are drawn closer to the joy that is available in life to the believer.
And everything seems dark, and everything seems hopeless, and it seems like the end for the disciples, but Sunday's coming. Despite our relationship with God, we continue to live stories that are broken. All of our brokenness was taken to the cross, and Jesus bore it for us, and from that sprung life.
Sometimes you look at some kind of work of art and you're just going to say, wow. Wow. The more I think about the attributes of God, the names of God, the things God does, who he is, you just got to say, wow. He's provider, he's protector, he's savior, he's friend, he's all of these things. You just got to say, wow.
The narrative that is woven throughout human history is the story that God wrote to bring us back to himself.
Most believers have heard the story of Easter over and over. And it's not that it ever becomes old, but I think we can start to see it through only through one set of eyes.
For God to sacrifice the life of his child is something I really can't comprehend.
These women are going to the tomb, and Jesus is gone and he's risen. And the significance of that moment when he came back to life was, everything he had said he was going to do, and gave everybody hope for the future.